My name is Aslan, and this is my mom, Lorian, and my stepdad, John. And this was my baby sister, Thisbe.
And she was just a great baby. She was like the best baby. I remember even writing in this little journal that I kept that she said, I remember I even went back to look at it later. I said, "You're so good, it's almost scary." You know, the first year was, it was perfect for any child, and that Thisbe hit all of her milestones. You know, she was, if anything, she was probably a little ahead. The future looked really bright and promising, and then at 16 months, she started with a wheeze, an inspiratory wheeze. It was a slow descent down that we didn't know was coming, but it just kept stacking up all of these things that she was losing.
At the time of the diagnosis, this was an extremely underreported disease, and there had been about 48 cases reported since the late 1800s.
When Lorian and John first encountered BVVL, the causes of the condition were completely unknown. They were left with very little information about what they could do to help their children.
Her eyelids started drooping again. The muscles in her eyelids were being attacked. Her hearing, the vocal cords, the smile, that huge smile, was disappearing.
It's in a class of diseases that impair the peripheral nervous system. So the motor neurons quit working. And when they stop working, then they don't have the ability anymore to send the messages to the muscles to move.
It's like a cord, an extension cord, and that extension cord gets frayed in the middle. And so you plug it in, and sometimes it works, and other times it doesn't. Why? Well, the connection's not getting through, that electricity's not getting through, and that's what happens with motor neuron diseases and BVVL.
It was the worst thing. It was the worst thing that could possibly happen to her. And when it's sitting there on paper, and there are only 38 cases at the time ever documented in 100 years, and they all died, and they all died horrific deaths, slow descending paralysis, with cognitive function perfectly intact.
The same month, Thisbe started showing symptoms of Brown-Valeto-Van Leer. We found out Mom was expecting another baby.
As perfect as I thought Thisbe was, Noah was even more perfect as a baby, and that he had everything. He came into this household with all of this trauma going on. So we actually said, you know what? He's a blessing. He's come to us because he's going to show his sister how to get better. And we didn't mean to have him, but look how great. He's going to show us all the way.
After fighting a 17-month battle, Thisbe passed away in April of 2007. But then, just 1 month later, Noah too started showing signs of BVVL.
We'd already made the decision with Noah when he got sick that we would not prolong the disease. We would not trach him. And so by doing that, we knew we would cut the time that we would have with him, but we wouldn't let him suffer like we saw Thisbe suffer.
My mom and John were desperately searching for a way to save Noah. They were told the only way to discover a possible cure was to find the gene for BVVL.
It was a brand new light bulb that went off, because I'd spent 2.5 years doing research every waking moment that I possibly had with Thisbe. So what it ended up doing is it just caused me to ask different questions to these people who I had before said, what are you trying on your patients? Then I started emailing them and saying, do you know of anyone who can help us find the gene?
It can be very difficult as a scientist to move in a new direction without support. This kind of creates a catch-22 situation where no one studies a disease because no one has any data on studying that disease, no one has a track record in studying that condition, and so no one can get federal money to be able to study it.
Meeting the Scotts and really hearing their story made us work harder. It really emphasized how important it was to find the gene. they were also very important in identifying other families and in really bringing BVVL research to the fore. You know, they reached out to the Genetic Alliance, they reached out to the director of NIH, and they said, this is important, it has to be found. So it really gave a huge amount of urgency to our mission.
We found this doctor. He didn't have what he needed, which was a sequencing machine. And so, to make a long story short, we got him. We got him a sequencer through this other researcher who was willing to help. And then I think within 2 months of all that really great stuff happening, Noah died.
It was devastating, but Mom and John just kept going. They wouldn't allow Thisbe and Noah's lives to be in vain.
She felt this was a legacy of her children, you know, to be able to find the gene, to try and find a cure for this disease. I think she really didn't want others to go through this, which is an amazing thing, really, because I'm sure that every time you pick up the phone or you go to meet a researcher or you write an email, it must bring up the memories of what's happened to you. So I think they're both very strong people to continue this fight after losing 2 children.
One can't help but be struck by her deep earnestness, her respect for this condition, her real desire and resolve to try to understand what happened to her and her family and to try to prevent that from happening to others.
What happened to Thisbe and Noah can't continue to happen. And so that's what's kept us kind of keep going. Thisbe and Noah are not here with us anymore. And the only thing that we have is the foundation. And if we can save some lives, then that's keeping Thisbe and Noah alive.
The mission of the Thisbe and Noah Scott Foundation is to provide support, awareness, and research. Pediatric neuromuscular diseases are an underdog. And the hardest part about all this is that SMA is the #1 genetic killer of infants and toddlers around the world, and most people have never heard of it. 1 in every 35 people carries the gene. And it's hard to raise money for a disease that most people have never heard of, even though it's very prolific. Neuromuscular diseases, they just don't have many champions, and they're really terrible diseases. And most of them have no cure. Most of them are a death sentence. And so with so few champions, you know, we're stepping up.
The money that we've raised, we've been able to help find the gene for this disease. We've helped develop a test for this disease. We've helped find other families out there that have the disease that had no idea. They were searching online to figure out what is going on with my kid, and we've been a forum for them.
I feel the Scots have surpassed any promise they may have made to Thisbe and Noah. They've driven research that ultimately has led to a treatment. I don't know if they realize how amazing a feat that is.
Within a year of the gene discovery, a treatment was proposed. That treatment was then tested and reported out in the literature, something that really just doesn't happen in the world of pediatric neurology. It's an amazing, amazing story.
There are very few people in this world that are as dedicated to their cause as John and Lorian are. They are real champions. They're heroes of research, and I can't think of anyone for any other condition who has put as much of themselves into really solving something as they have. They've literally changed the face of our understanding of this disease through their work.
I don't think the Scots would want to be called heroes, but they are heroes. And Thisbe and Noah are truly heroes, absolutely.
Because we were able to find the gene, it was safe for my mom to have more children. This is my little brother, Open. And this is my little sister, Hattie. It's bittersweet. Memories of Thisbe and Noah never fade. There has been joy and sorrow, but always there has been love.